Um, Ray, just a few things for you to know. If you end up going a few minutes over, there is no strict schedule for this. Do the best you can, and we'll all just nod and say thank you. If you have any questions and you want no one to see it but me, click on my name in the chat and it'll send me a private message. It'll show up red.
Good.
Otherwise, there's a little box on the bottom right where it says to everyone. You can select my name there as well if you want to be double sure. Before you hit enter on a private message, you might want to make sure it says to Ross. So I think that's really the main thing. If there are any glitches or whatever else, I'll be here, and most of the attendees actually know exactly what to do if we get stuck. So it's pretty easy. All right, guys, who wants my slightly used flip camera? All right, now I've used this. There's about 2 hours that have gone into it, but it's literally immaculate. This thing's in perfect condition, and the reason that I thought it would be cool to give it away used is that I'm actually going to put a personal coaching message for you. I've gotten to know many of you quite well. This thing's really slick. All you need is two AA batteries. It plugs directly into your computer. So very cool. I actually replaced this with an HD camera, so I really don't have any use for it. So instead of giving it to my children and allowing them to ruin it, the question that I'm asking you is, I need you to name 2 of my 3 children, and the first one to do that wins. People are typing fast. Terry won. Terry Soberg won. Oh, Danielle, you missed it by just a touch. Laura, guys, oh my goodness. Okay, congrats to Terry. That was super fast. I gave you guys all you needed to find it. So that was fun. Terry, shoot me an email to Ross at Ross Helps, and I'll send it off to you Monday morning, first thing. It is on MySpace if you look at my pictures. So that's where that was. So good job, Terry. Now let me go straight into my introduction of Ray. Ray and I met recently at Mass Control, the actual seminar, and we were having dinner together, and I turned to him and I said, Ray, I would love to have you speak at one of my seminars. And he said, you know, Ross, I'm really trying to back off on all the events that I speak at, and the traveling's really becoming a burden. You know, I've got a family, all that kind of stuff. I said, dude, so do I. So that's why the next one's virtual. And immediately his eyes lit up. And he said, I don't have to travel? I said, nope. And he said, I'm in. So that's as far as it went. And since then, I've been paying very close attention to what Ray's been doing. And he's been pulling off some really, really cool stuff. He's been doing that for years, so I really wasn't surprised that he continued. But I'm honored to be associated with him in any way, shape, or form, and really appreciate that he's here to teach you guys copywriting. He's one of the world's best. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit down, get ready to take some notes, and I give you proudly Ray Edwards.
Well, thank you so much, Ross. And just want to double check that everybody can hear me okay. Thanks, Laura, for the virtual applause. I appreciate that. All right, cool. Well, we're just going to jump right in, and we're going to be talking today about the one skill that turns words into wealth and creates profits on demand. And I want to underline something for you, and that is that, you know, today I live in Spokane, Washington, and it's snowing. It's been snowing since yesterday, and I can look right outside the window of my house. I actually have an office that I lease because I have a lot of stuff, and it just seemed like a cool idea to have an office outside the house. But I can also work from home whenever I choose, and you guys can do the same thing. And that's the beauty of being able to have an internet business, and we're going to get into a little bit of that and a little bit of why this is, you know, like the perfect time. The time is right for all of us to be doing what we're doing. And it's snowing outside. The weather is not very hospitable for driving. I don't have to go to an office. I don't have to fly somewhere to a seminar, and neither do you. We can all do this from the comfort of our own home. So here I am, toasty warm in my dining room, and snow outside, and my wife and My two little dogs are in the next room, and so if you hear an occasional bark or yip, you'll know it's one of the pugs. But that's the power and the beauty of what it is we all do, and of what we have access to do if you haven't started yet. So let's begin by talking a little bit about who the heck I am. This part always makes me a little uncomfortable because I don't know about you, but I was taught by my mom you shouldn't brag. And so I kind of had that deeply ingrained into my subconscious. But on the other hand, Mark Twain once wrote, "It ain't bragging if you really done it." So I hope you'll forgive me, but I really done this. Who am I? I'm a radio expert. I was in radio for 25 plus years. Thanks, Teresa. No other way to work but at home. That's absolutely right, Michelle. You are right on track. So I was in the radio business for 25 plus years. I was a disc jockey and a program director and a general manager, and ran a group of radio stations, and then became a vice president for one of the largest radio companies in America. Marketing consultant. I've worked with all kinds of businesses. As you can imagine, in the radio business, I was privileged to work with any kind of business you can think of. Car dealers, real estate agents, retail stores, cell phone stores, tire manufacturers, landscaping companies, chiropractors, dentists, doctors, lawyers, whatever kind of business there is, I've probably had some involvement with their marketing or advertising at some point. And I'm a $1 million copywriter. And a lot of people throw that title around, but it can mean different things. When I say $1 million copywriter, I mean that I've written individual pieces of sales copy that have each brought in over $1 million in revenue in a short period of time. And I'll show you some examples of that, not really as a way of bragging, but as a way of proving that I know what I'm talking about and that I've actually done it. Because why else would I be qualified to teach you anything? I'm a professional speaker. I speak at a lot of seminars, a lot fewer these days, as Ross was explaining. And I'm a published author. I've got one book published. It's fiction, actually. Co-author of a nonfiction book called $1 Million Marketing Secrets. And I've got a new book coming out very soon about copywriting. And then I'm a seminar putter-oner, because I don't have a better term for that. I believe the actual correct term is impresario, but seminar putter-oner just sounds a lot less pretentious. Don't you agree? Hey, Teresa used to be a DJ too, huh? I did mobile DJ stuff for a long time, so I know what that's all about. Promoter, sure. That's a good term as well, Kate. So, on the screen right now, can you guys see that beautiful automobile, that fine piece of automotive engineering? That is a 1977 Chevrolet Chevette. It was my first car. Yep, Crystal, you got it. It's a Chevy. This is actually not a picture of mine. Yeah, it's my Vette. I talk to people about, yeah, I used to ride around in my Vette. Yep, I had a car like that in high school too. Mine was lime green. I didn't actually ever take a photograph of it because I hated it so much. But I just show this to you because I wanted you to see that I started from very humble beginnings. I grew up in southeast Kentucky in coal mining country, and this was my first car. My first apartment when I was at the age of 17 years old was a little roach-infested two-room apartment with no furniture in it. So however humble your beginnings are, wherever you're starting from, you can achieve a lot more, I believe, than you think you can. This is a picture from a few years ago. This was 2004, I believe. These are the radio stations that I actually ran in Spokane, Washington. Oh, Teresa says, believe it or not, some people are still driving those Chevettes. Yeah, I actually got that picture from, believe it or not, a website that's devoted to Chevrolet Chevette enthusiasts. So you're looking at the radio stations that I ran in Spokane, Washington. There's actually 7 radio stations in this building that we're looking at, which is not far from my house where I live right now. And it was owned at that time by Citadel Communications Corporation. They don't own it anymore. It got sucked up in the big consolidation wars. But we had 7 radio stations in that building, and we did about $6 million in revenue. Radio stations that I was in charge of, and we kept about $2 million of it. So that was a fantastic experience. Radio was my dream job as I was growing up. I loved it. I loved the advertising. I loved the creation part of it, the writing copy for all those different businesses and helping people grow their businesses. I came from an entrepreneurial family, I knew what it meant to business owners to not advertise to just get your name out there, but to advertise to make your cash register ring. But I recognized something. I recognized that radio was on the way out. It was in big, deep trouble. In fact, I believe that the radio industry passed away as we used to know it back in about 2001. It's just that the industry doesn't recognize that yet. And so there we have radio's gravestone. Yes, DJs do like attention. It's true. I, however, was focused, instead of on radio, I was focused on something else, and that was the internet, because I knew that the internet equaled freedom. If you look at the richest people in the world, you don't have to look down that list very far, like number 2 or number 3, is Bill Gates. He used to be number 1, but I think Warren Buffett might actually be back ahead of him again now. There's other people on that list as well, Paul Allen and Larry Ellison and a whole bunch of other people who are in the information business, and specifically information via the internet business. So what that led to for me was a much better car, a much cooler car. And this is the car that I'm talking about. It's my Jaguar. I actually don't own this car anymore because after I had the freedom to own it, I began to understand that sometimes wanting something is a lot more enjoyable than actually having the something. And this Jaguar spent a lot of time in the shop, and it had a lot of weird mechanical problems. But it was cool to own it. It was cool to drive it. And it was cool to realize that I had realized a dream via this car. I've also experienced, since leaving the radio business, the freedom to take some great trips. Now, in the radio business, when I left it, I had an awesome job. I actually had left the company that we were looking at before, and I was the vice president in charge of programming for a company in the Northwest U.S., and they didn't have any radio stations in the town where I live. So I didn't actually have to even go into work every day, and I traveled quite a bit every couple of weeks to go to different markets to help them run their radio stations better. And I had 4 weeks of paid vacation, and I had a 6-figure salary, and I had great benefits, but I did not have true freedom. I didn't have the freedom, for instance, to take a trip to the UK, which is what I'm doing in this picture. If you see here, this is me and my wife, and we're in Scotland in this picture. We took about a 2-week trip to the UK, and we've done lots of travel since then. We've traveled all over the U.S. in our motorhome. We just got a new motorhome not long ago, and we're getting ready to leave Spokane as it gets really cold here and head south and do a really cool double Disney trip. We're going to go to Disney in California and then go across the country to Disney in Florida. So kind of a cool, fun lifestyle. And anytime I talk publicly, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. That's your choice. But anytime I talk publicly, I always acknowledge the source of true freedom in my own life and the source of true riches in my own life and family, and that's my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So, as we talk about freedom, the thing that I have learned, and I'm going to relate this back to copywriting in just a few moments, is that freedom comes by taking immediate action. Not by waiting around, not for thinking about it, but by taking action right now when the opportunity is right in front of you. And when it comes to copywriting, I believe that anybody is just one sales letter away from financial freedom. Just one winning sales letter can make all the difference for you. I'll give you an example, and it doesn't have to be in the make money market either. It can be in any market. Here's a client of mine who's also now a friend and a business partner at this point, but at the time we met, I was just a name he saw on the internet, and he called me and said, I need some help. I have an ebook that teaches people how to treat their dogs and cats with holistic medicine at home instead of taking them to the vet. And this guy was a veterinary doctor. His name was Dr. Andrew Jones, and he had me write his sales copy to sell his ebook. And he began making about $1,500 a month with that ebook. And Andrew is a fantastic student, and he is an action taker. Because at that point he said, okay, you were right about the sales letter. Now what? What's the next thing I need to do in order to make more money? And I told him, you need to create an information product. You need to create a course based on your ebook. And Andrew said, okay. And so he went out and did exactly what I told him to do. And when he had finished it, within just a few weeks, he came back to me and said, okay, so now I got a course. Now what do I do? And I said, well, now you need to do a product launch. So we had a consultation call, and I recommended that he get hold of Jeff Walker's product launch formula, which he did. And then I helped coach him through his product launch, and he made $44,550 that first week. And this was for a product that other internet marketing types had told him, hey, you can't have a $300 information product course for pet owners. They just won't buy it. And guess what? That turned out to be absolutely not true. And in fact, in that first week, he made over $44,000, but he made over $60,000 his first month with that product, and he created an instant baseline income of $7,500 a month. And right now, that runs somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 a month. He created a whole new business based on starting with the copy. Now, some of you may recognize the faces that you see on the screen. And by the way, guys, I got to tell you, I am loving this seminar format. This may change the way I do teaching from here on, because this technology is fabulous. I love being able to see what you guys are giving me feedback on. So feel free to keep typing those messages in the window. I love being able to show you the slides and images on PowerPoint. So look up on the screen there and tell me how many of these faces do you guys recognize? Just type in their names as you identify who they are. Okay, Asher only recognizes two people. We got Armand Morin, we got Frank Kern, that's right, Mike Filsame, Alex Mondosian. Lots of people recognize. Now, somebody thought Jay Abraham was up there. That's interesting. Mark Victor Hansen. Okay, so I'll tell you who they are. Starting the top left, you guys are right on track, by the way. You've named every single one of them. But for those who can't put names to faces, I'll tell you who they are. Starting top left is Armand Morin. To his right is Alex Mondosian. The guy with the long hair and the 3-day growth of beard, that's Frank Kern. The smiling guy in the top right corner is Joel Comm. Second row on the far left is Jack Canfield. Jack is one of the co-authors of, does anybody know? Anybody know what his claim to fame is? I'm waiting. Somebody's going to type this in there. Chicken Soup. Yep, Chicken Soup for the Soul. Absolutely correct. To Jack's right is Jeff Walker, the creator of the product launch formula. Ken MacArthur is to his right. And then on the far right, on the second row, is Mike Filsame. And then bottom left is Kurt Christensen. To Kurt's right is Mark Victor Hansen, the other co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. Matt Basak is next to last on the bottom row. And then the guy in black and white, looking like the Godfather, is the Godfather of Internet marketing, Mark Joyner. Absolutely correct. Now, does anybody know what all these folks have in common? Because you guys are on your game. I'm sure somebody's going to guess this. Yes, they do have success in common. Yes, they are millionaires. And absolutely right. They have all used me as their copywriter and or marketing consultant, most of them more than once. So the other things that they do have in common is they are all copywriters. They can all write great copy. They all understand the value of copy. Yes, they've all hired me, most of them more than once, to write copy for them. And so they understand that copy is central to their business. In fact, Armand Morin paid me over $30,000. Oh, Terry, I'm sorry there's no women. I actually do have women clients, but that slide was designed as a shock and awe slide to show you all of my big, fancy clients. And my women clients are not real famous, quite honestly. So I need to fix that. I appreciate you pointing that out. So Armand Morin paid me $30,000 to write copy, and he did it, as he said, because my copy gets results. And here's a check that I got from Armand. I agree, Karen, we're going to change it. This is a check for $15,000. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner, it's the second payment on my copywriting fee. So that was a $30,000 job. Here is a check from a different client. I didn't get his permission to show this check, so I blanked out the actual name, but this is a 50% copywriting fee, and it's another $15,000, so my total fee on that was $30,000. And I show you these things not to brag or to impress you, but to impress upon you that I am anti-hype. I'm all about let's just tell it like it is, and that's exactly what I'm doing in this presentation. Here's some results that some of my clients have gotten using what you're going to learn today. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes here in just a second. But the guys who created, you guys may have heard of the Member Site Bootcamp launch with Tim Kerber and Ryan Lee, also my clients. We did $1.71 million in 6 days with that launch. This is copy that I wrote for Mark Victor Hansen's Megabook Marketing University, sold out 500 tickets. Jack Canfield's Breakthrough to Success seminar, I wrote the copy for that, $1.3 million, weeks ahead of time. And Matt Basak went on record as saying that my copy had been responsible directly for $1 million of his income last year. So here's my big secret. Am I some kind of genius? Am I like miracle guy? No. Here's my big secret. I have a system. I figured out what the system was for writing copy that makes sales, and I detailed that out, made it into a blueprint, and I used the same system over and over again. So the question you got to ask yourself is, do you want the system? And by the way, Teresa, no, it's not mental triggers and it's not hypnosis. Matt, yes, Matt's all business. I want the system. Well, that's what we're going to get today before we're done. I'll tell you this, to get this system, I didn't just buy a bunch of $19 ebooks. I actually invested over $101,387 in home study courses, in live seminars and workshops, in coaching programs, clubs and memberships, and rare books, manuals, recordings, studying classic pieces of profitable copy, doing thousands of pieces of test data and research, not just in the online world, but in the offline world too. And through, honestly, some painful trial and error. But even though I invested over $101,000, let me tell you something. $101,387 means nothing. It means nothing unless I took immediate action. That's absolutely correct. You guys are so on top of it. Freedom comes by taking immediate action. So I'm going to teach you guys the major components of my system today. And my question for you is, when I teach it to you, when I'm finished, will you actually take action? Will you? Here come the yeses. Well, we'll see. Because, here's what I've learned. How many of you have seen a big opportunity come your way? Most of us have, right? Do you believe that the opportunity of a lifetime comes around all the time, or do you believe it comes every now and then? And when you see an opportunity, should you think about it or should you seize on it? Because you're going to see the opportunity to take exactly what I teach you today and put it to work. You can put it to work this afternoon if you want to. Exactly. Seize the day. Seize the opportunity. So the next time, whether it's with me or whether it's somebody else or some other situation or some other opportunity, when you see the opportunity, what are you going to do? You're going to seize it. The opportunity that we're going to talk about today is copywriting. And copywriting is king. I don't believe content is king. I believe copywriting is king because content is copywriting. That's my belief. So let's start by defining what copywriting is. Now here it is, we're getting into it. This is note-taking time. So start writing stuff down. You do not have to be really good at writing to get the job done to make people buy. In fact, it's to your disadvantage, probably, if you got all A's in English. But you can overcome that. Even A students in English can overcome it and write good copy. I'll get into that. So copywriting is merely persuasion in print. It is also the ultimate leverage. And what I mean by that is you can change nothing but your copy. You don't have to change your offer. You don't have to change your product. You don't have to change your graphics. All you need to do is change your copy, and you can multiply your results. So same expenses to manufacture your product, to advertise it, and so forth, but changing the copy can make a huge difference in the profits that you make. That is ultimate leverage with really no downside. It is the one skill that empowers you. Gary Halbert, rest his soul, was one of the greatest copywriters ever to work. And he said famously, there's no such thing as a starving copywriter. Because if you're a copywriter, all you need is a pen and a legal pad, and you can get everything back. And I believe that's true. Copywriting is also often the one toughest hurdle for internet business people. Hey, thanks, Ross, Matt, and everybody else. I appreciate your input and your feedback. Why is copywriting the one toughest hurdle for most people? Because I see it time and time again, and I bet you guys do too. People who have a great idea, they have a great product, they have a great price, a great offer, but they don't know how to sell it. Exactly right, Asher. They don't know how to sell it. And specifically, they don't know the exact techniques for selling it in print, whether that print is on a computer screen or on paper. So what happens is I see people develop products and offers, and they put up a website and they wait for people to show up, but they can't seem to get the copy right. And they try to figure out how to do it themselves. They try to piece together stuff from what they saw somewhere else, or they maybe have decent copy, but it's formatted all the wrong way, as Teresa pointed out. Not sure how to put it into words. All exactly right. All exactly right. But when you know the system for writing copy the correct way, and when I say correct way, I don't mean to get A's in English, I mean to get sales in your shopping cart. It gives you power over poverty. And it enhances all other skills, all other strategies, all other tactics, systems. I mean, you can take the power of copywriting and then go back to any course or ebook or system that you've already bought and figure out, now, how can I use the power of good copy principles to put this to work in my business and in my life? And that's exactly what will happen for you. So it enhances every other skill, every other system. In fact, I'm going to put forth the idea to you that copywriting on the internet is everything. And here's just some places that you're going to be using copy. This is all copy. Your emails are copy. Not just your selling emails, but your customer service emails, your follow-up emails, your e-zines, your autoresponders. Yes, of course, your sales letters. The squeeze pages that you put up, the download pages, the thank you pages, the articles, the blog posts, the press releases. You name it. It's all copy. In fact, let me show you what the internet looks like without copywriting. That's the internet without copywriting. The internet stops without copywriting. It comes to a full stop. So here's what you're going to get today in the rest of this presentation. Hopefully by now I have impressed upon you the importance and the power and the results that you can get from copywriting. And now I'm going to give you the goods, and I'm going to ask for an agreement with you. My agreement is this. Let me ask you a question. Are any of you guys going to be surprised if later on I have an opportunity for you to continue on with me in some way or fashion? Is that going to surprise you? Of course not. No, it's not going to surprise you. Okay. Is it okay with you if I teach you 28 different pieces of how to make this puzzle work for you? And I do nothing but teach, and then at the very end for a couple of minutes, I'll share an opportunity with you. Is that okay with you? Yes, the yeses are coming in. Cool. All right. So here we go. Here are the 28 pieces that you're going to get today. You're going to get the ultimate selling formula. You're going to get the 14 elements of a basic sales letter. I am going to teach you exactly what the pieces are. You can use them as a checklist if you have somebody write copy for you, and you can double check their work and make sure they put everything into your sales letter that needs to be in there, or you can use it when you're writing your own sales copy. I'm going to give you 3 headline formulas that you can use. A lot of times headlines are the hardest thing for people to write. I'm going to give you 3 formulas. You can use these, and you absolutely will be able to crank out 3 winning headlines in about 2 minutes. Hope that sounds good to you. I'm also going to give you the 9 rules of writing copy that sells, and if you've seen me give this presentation before, guess what? You haven't seen me give this presentation before, because I've added some new material that is different from what I used before, because I've made new distinctions about what works. I'm also going to show you exactly how you can use my system. Crystal, don't worry about not being able to type faster. I cannot type very fast either. In fact, let me show you the fingers that I use to type with. On this hand, I use these two fingers, and on this hand, I use these two fingers. Sometimes this finger gets involved as well. I skipped typing class in school. I wish I hadn't. But now there's dictation software, and you know what? You can still make money as a copywriter and a marketer even if you can't type good or well. Okay, Dragon Naturally Speaking, amen. And then on the Mac, which is what I use, you use Dictate, which uses the Dragon engine. Okay, so here's the ultimate selling formula. This can be applied as an overlay to anything you're selling. So this formula works whether you're writing a Warrior special offer, whether you're writing an eBay ad, or a classified ad, or an easy ad, or a full sales letter, or an email, whatever it is, or blog post even. Start thinking of your blog posts, by the way, as sales copy, even if you're just selling an idea. Think about that. There's power in them there words. Ultimate selling formula. It's 4 parts. And it goes something like this. And this is actually something that was borrowed from an almost ancient formula that was taught in many, many marketing classes. And this is just a way to put it in more colloquial language. I heard John Carlton explain this the first time in this kind of colloquial language. Yep, exactly. Here's what I'm selling. Here's how it helps you. Some questions you might ask about it. And here's exactly what to do now. So, can anybody guess what the ancient marketing formula is that both John Carlton and Frank Kern and Ray Edwards and Michael Fortin, what we all borrowed this from? Anybody know? I'll give you a hint. Michael and Teresa, absolutely. AIDA. Attention, interest, desire, action. They all give me credit for it. Oh, that's funny. Attention, interest, desire, action. That's what this real ultimate selling formula is. So, hopefully, you've written this down. Hang on. A little dust in my throat, so I muted out the microphone. Hey, you guys like my reindeer coffee mug? Not sure which one this is. Probably don't care. I thought they all had names. Okay, back to the teaching. Sorry, easily distracted. Here's another formula, ADD. I might have it. 14 basic elements of an online sales letter. Here they are, and definitely you want to write these down. These pieces are the building blocks of any good online sales letter. Ta-dum. Here they are. And don't worry, I'm going to move off this slide here pretty quickly, but I'm going to go through each one of these individually. So when I told you I'm giving you the formula for the sales letter, I'm not holding anything back. I'm going to give it to you. So, like I said, I'm going to go through each one on its own individual slide, so you have plenty of times to get the notes. But the pieces are pre-head, headline, the deck copy, subheads, the lead copy, the rapport section of your letter, the credibility section, the benefit bullets, the testimonials, the value justification section, the risk reversal or guarantee section, the bonus section, the offer or call to action, and the PS. So I'm going to move on. Some folks are going to freak out a little bit, but each one is going to get... Oh, Matt, yeah, Bensavinga Bullets, everybody. If you want some great copywriting info, definitely subscribe to Gary Bensavinga's Bullets. They're free, and I believe that it's bensavingabullets.com. Okay, let's look at, somebody else can verify what that link is for me. I'm going to move on with the presentation, but if somebody else can find the link for Bensavinga Bullets and put it in the screen, that would be awesome. Okay, so element number 1 is the pre-head. this is where, thank you, Terry, this is where you target the prime prospect for your message and you grab their attention. So if you have a copy that's for arthritis sufferers, let's say you have an arthritis remedy, then your pre-head might say, attention, arthritis sufferers. In this case, this example is from a piece of copy that I wrote for Matt Basak, and it says, finally end your money worries forever. So what kind of person is this copy written for? A person who has money worries and is really interested in ending them forever. So that's the pre-head, and it usually goes up at the top, at the left. Some people refer to this as the eyebrow. I'm not really sure why. Element number 2 is the headline. And the headline is really just the ad for the rest of the ad. And don't get confused. If you have an email, it's an ad. And the headline is actually the subject of the email. That's the headline. If you have a sales letter, that's an ad as well. And the headline is pretty obvious. It's up in big letters up at the top of the letter. So that's what we mean by when we say ad. So the headline is the ad for the rest of the ad. It's got one job and one job only, and that is to get the reader to keep reading the rest of the ad. It's not to sell the offer. It's not to say the price. It's not to tell the benefits. It's to get the reader to read the rest of the ad. Yes, Crystal, the headline is the most important part of your copy. Now, it's not the most important part of your marketing. Sometimes people get this confused. Think about that for a moment. The most important part of your marketing is making sure you have a hungry market. They really desire something already because you can't create the desire. You can only channel it. Number 2, making sure that you know what that something is in their words and in their terms. And number 3, offering them the right something. Those are the things that are important. Michael Cheney said a good headline's like spending 80 cents out of your dollar in copywriting. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Asher. That's right on target. All right, so number 3 is the deck copy. I'll show you a little visual representation of this coming up, and you'll be able to see how this all fits together. Most of you probably already know, but this comes right underneath the headline, usually in smaller typeface. And what it does is reinforce the impact of the idea that you proposed in the headline, and it builds more curiosity. It may play up more credibility. This one's a little hypey because it was for a kind of a hype-driven product. But we knew our market. We knew what they were willing to buy and what they were interested in buying. So that's why it's written this way. And I've written copy for physicians that has to be much more low-key than this, but the principles still apply. So this deck copy says, my friend, these next few pages could quite possibly change your life. Yes, it's that important. So grab your favorite beverage, lock your office door, kick off your shoes, and read every single word. You won't regret it. So this was all about a curiosity opening, and as you can see in the deck, that's exactly what we did, is build more curiosity. Now, the next element is your subheads. Just like your sales letter needs a headline, every paragraph or section of your sales letter needs its own headline, and we call those subheads. They break up the letter into readable sections, and they kind of are attention grabbing and get the reader to pay attention to what they should be thinking about this copy that they're about to read. We're pre-framing them a little bit. They're smaller headlines. They separate the major section of your copy, and they act like a bucket brigade. They sort of hand the reader off from one section to the next to keep them moving all the way through the letter. They connect the story. In fact, yes, quotes are good here, Crystal. Actually, I would test that carefully. Don't just take anybody's word, including mine. You test it in your own experience. But quite often, if you put quotes around these elements, they do get better responses. Okay, so element number 5 is the lead section of your letter. This is the beginning of the letter. You know, it comes right under the salutation, and it sets the criteria of who the copy is for and what they stand to gain by reading it. So what you're doing is you're selling them on why they should read the copy. I have a little example here. It's kind of hard to read on this screen, but it does give you the if-then formula. And so this is not in a slide, so listen carefully. I'm going to give you a formula for how to start your sales letter off, because for a lot of folks, this is also a sticking point. They don't quite know how to do this. So just use the if-then formula. Let's say that you're selling a weight loss method, and your weight loss method helps people lose weight quickly and easily without exercise or starvation dieting. So your if-then might be, it's if you want blank, then you want to read this letter. And so the if part is all about the pain that they've experienced in trying to get a solution so far. So it might go like this. If you've been struggling with losing weight, if you really want to get rid of that ugly fat, if you've tried every kind of pill, potion, and lotion available, if you've tried starvation dieting, if you've tried strenuous exercise, and none of it has worked, and you're desperate for a solution to your problem, then this could be the most life-changing letter you read this year. Here's the story. And that's a key phrase. Either here's the story, or here's why, or here's what I mean. You're just adding that little connector phrase that keeps them reading on to the next section because they want to know the answer. What is the story? Element number 6 is the rapport section. This is where you demonstrate that you know the reader's pain. You understand their problem. You identify that you've been there. You speak the language. You say the same words. You felt the same pains. And it comes right after the here's the story. So if you happened to be a person who was overweight and uncovered this method for weight loss, then your story might be something like, I too was once 700 pounds overweight. I had to be lifted with a forklift out of my house. Okay, maybe that's a little over the top. But, I was embarrassed by my condition. I was worried about my health. I tried desperately to lose weight and just couldn't take the weight off. I tried all the different methods in the world. Anybody who's actually experienced this knows it's painful. It's difficult. And it's not easy. A lot of people, people who are already thin think, oh, it's the easiest thing in the world. Just stop eating and exercise. It's not quite that simple for most people. So you just relate that you understand that. And so by doing that, they know that you understand them, that you've heard their pain, you felt their pain, and they feel an instant bonding or rapport with you. This is called seeking first to understand before you seek to be understood. One of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? If you've studied that book or his work, then you know that this is one of the key elements of communication. Okay, so element number 7 is your credibility. Why should you believe me? In fact, a good way to start that section off is, why should you listen to what I have to say? That could actually be your subhead. Well, here's the reason why. I was 375 pounds, and I tried every method out there, and then I tried this unique method that I'm going to tell you about, and it works like a champ. And I took off the extra weight, and now I weigh 190 pounds, and I'm ultra healthy, and that's why you should believe me. It's credibility. Way to go, Teresa, having lost 150 pounds. That's awesome. I haven't lost quite that much, but I was at 270 at my highest weight, and I'm down to about 230 right now, so inch by inch, right? Okay, so credibility. It answers what is probably the top objection that readers have to your proposal. That is, why should I even believe you? In my own sales letter, I've got an example here that I'm showing you. One of the credibility builders that I use is all the people that I've written copy for. And I put a list of them on my sales letter back when I was looking for copywriting work as a copywriter for hire. And I'm not actively seeking that out these days. This is something else that I did on that sales letter. I actually have Mark Victor Hansen's testimonial up at the top of the page. It functions as my headline. Now, that's kind of an advanced technique. I recommend you just use a plain old headline. But when you're in a hyper-competitive situation, you can do something like that. Number 8, benefit bullets. And here's where, after the headline, here's where most sales letters fall apart. They don't have enough bullets. However many bullets you have, you should have more. You should have at least 50 bullets or more in any sales letter, even if it's just for a simple little ebook. And the reason is you never know which benefit is going to be the one that's going to prompt people to go ahead and buy. So these bullets need to be about the same length, 2 to 3 lines deep, no deeper in most cases. You want to bold either every other bullet, or you want to bold key phrases out of each bullet that you want to call attention to. And most of them should probably be what I call blind bullets. And I'll give you, again, this is not in the slides, so you might want to jot this down real quickly, or I can jot it down for you. The first one would be the how-to bullet. And that's pretty simple and easy to understand. So you think of what's the big benefit of your product. Let's say your product allows someone to make $5,000 in 7 days. So you might say, how to make $5,000 in just 7 days. That's a how-to bullet. Another one would be what I call the one secret bullet. I don't know if this helps you guys if I type these things in here or not. The one secret bullet would be if you have there's a key element to your system, or a key element to a part of your system, like the one secret to never being hungry even though you're trying to lose weight. Well, wouldn't we all like to know what that is? Or the one secret to how you can eat donuts and still peel off the pounds. So you see, if you have a unique secret, now you're not going to tell the secret, so you're saying, I'm going to tell you what it is if you buy my product. That makes it a blind bullet. Okay, so there's just a couple of bullet formulas, and there's more of them. In my copywriting course, I have like 21 templates for those, and I don't have time to go through all of them here, but that's a couple that you can use. Number 9, the number 9 element is testimonials. And this is third-party verification that what you say is true, right? That's what people want to hear from a third party that says, hey, this person really knows what they're talking about. And the best kind of testimonial is a video testimonial. And here you see from my own website, just to show you that I practice what I preach. This is Tom Beal. Anybody know who Tom Beal is? He is talking about my copywriting track record and some of the people that I've written for and so forth. Somebody's going to get it. A couple of people are typing right now, so I know they're going to recognize who Tom is. Yep, Mike Filsame's business partner, absolutely correct. So I just did a big project for them not long ago. So video testimonials are best. And next best is an audio testimonial with a picture and their name and their website address and what they said actually typed out. Because you'll notice here, I've even typed out the headline from what Tom said. Teresa wants to know, do you think getting a beta tester in exchange for a testimonial is a good idea? Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have testimonials, then for sure, I would definitely do that. And there's, ways you can systemize that and go about it. I mean, you can go to a specific forum, like the Warrior Forum, for instance, and just tell people, now you can't give your product in exchange for a, quote, good testimonial, but you can give your product in exchange for honest feedback. And let them know if it's good feedback, I'd like to use it in my marketing. And so you can go to somewhere like the Warrior Forum and say, I need 20 beta testers. And what you agree to do is, number 1, you agree to actually test my product. And number 2, you agree to give me feedback and tell me what your experience was, good or bad, either way. And you'll get testimonials by doing that. So that's a great idea. It's a great way to get started. Number 10, the number 10 element is value justification. This is where you want to highlight the value of your offer and you want to contrast it favorably to the price. In other words, you want to show them why it's worth it. In fact, what you want to show them is why it's worth even more than what you're asking. And you've got to think about, you can't just say, this is worth a lot more than I'm asking, because that's just a claim. What you want to do is you want to denominate or dimensionalize why it's worth more than what you're asking. So let's say that you have a product that teaches people how to prepay their mortgage, and you know that on average, your average customer can save $347,000 over the life of their mortgage by using your system. So you could actually say, if you use my system, you'll save $347,000. Well, guess what? You just denominated how much it's worth. Let's say that you're selling a stop smoking program to employers, and you're going to license it to them to use with their employees so that they can teach their employees to stop smoking. And you might say to them, studies have shown that every smoker costs your business an extra $3,570 per year in lost time and medical costs and health insurance premiums. So for every one of your smoking employees that you can get to use our program and stop smoking, you will save another $3,500 a year. So you've dimensionalized it. Teresa wants to know how many testimonials per page is good. As many as you can get. If you are only starting out with 3, then use 3. But I would say, it's always better to have at least, over 10, somewhere over 10. But just as many as you can get. If you've got 10, then shoot for 20. If you've got 20, shoot for 30. The more testimonials, the better. Okay, element number 11 is your risk reversal. This removes the biggest obstacle to getting an order. Because even if they've bought into what you're saying, and even if they've decided it's right for them, they may be worried that it's not going to work. or that it's not going to work for them, or that they're not going to like it, or that they're not going to be able to make it work, or whatever the case. So you want to take all the risk of the transaction off their shoulders and put it back on your own shoulders. Makes total sense, right? I mean, you've probably been in a situation where you saw an offer and they just kept piling on the value, and they told you what the guarantee was, and they did all these things, and you said to yourself, wow, how could I say no to this? I mean, I'd be silly not to do this. That is an irresistible offer, and that is great risk reversal. Teresa wants to know, is a unique graphic better for this? Yeah, but the reason so many of them look alike is that this works. Putting your guarantee inside a certificate flat out works. I've tested it dozens of times. I have, between me, my clients, and my colleagues, we've tested this thousands of times, and putting it inside a certificate that basically looks like this always, almost always, works better. I say almost always because you should test yourself. And I don't have time to go into testing here. In my copywriting course, we do a whole segment on testing and tracking, but let me just say two words to you that will help. Website optimizer. Website optimizer. Asher, yes, it's better to offer a guarantee that's longer than 30 days, but your credit card processor won't like it. So it may be a problem. Okay, element number 12 is your bonuses. Now, I see a lot of people goof this up. Yeah, ClickBank actually, Teresa, gives you 8 weeks. So 56 days or 8 weeks is their blanket guarantee, period. That's what you have to use. And if you say anything different on your page, they'll disable your product. So with them, there's no choice. So the bonus items, this is where I see a lot of people goof this up. And the way they goof it up is they give items that are either unrelated, or they are the same old recycled stuff that has been given away a million times on the internet, or they go like, totally nuts with like 57 bonuses. None of those is a really great idea. You want to have a number of bonuses, 5, 7, something like that, that actually add value to your product and that are related to your product. So here's an example of some bonus gifts that we came up with for Mark Victor Hansen's Mega Book Marketing University. And these are kind of hard to read on this small screen, but I'll tell you what they are. Bonus number 1 is how to get the most out of attending a mega event. It's a 2 CD set. Bonus number 2 is $100 in Mark's Mega Bucks, so that you could use those to buy stuff. Bonus number 3 is the $1 Million Publishing Rolodex. This is really meaningful to the authors that were attending this seminar, because this is what they wanted. They want to get published. They want to know the people in the business. And then bonus number 4 was getting the publishing deal you deserve, which is written by an agent. Yes, you do need to offer bonuses. Think of bonuses as that extra degree. You've all heard the extra degree analogy, probably, that at 212 degrees, water boils. And with boiling water, you can make soup or tea or coffee. But if you add an extra degree, it becomes steam. And that extra degree is the difference between making a cup of coffee or powering a ocean-going vessel or a train or a city even. So that extra degree that the bonuses add can actually motivate your prospects from saying, oh, good idea, to saying, wow, I need to do this, and then actually taking action on it. It does help to make them stand out. So I've got the little arrows, and I box them out, and people do buy just for the bonuses. I mean, I do. Quite often I'll buy products just because there's a particular bonus that I want. Yes, absolutely. Create a mini product of your own and make it a bonus. Do a teleseminar on a subject that is related to yours. You can use somebody else's product. It's better if you use your own. How many bonuses should you give? My testing has shown that anywhere from 3 to 7, and quite often it's usually 3. But it depends. And odd numbers seem to test better than even numbers. I don't know why, but it just seems to be the case. Element number 13 is the call to action. This is where a lot of people get afraid. They're afraid to ask for the order, quite frankly, is what it comes down to. It happens to face-to-face salespeople, and it happens to online marketers. You've got to ask for the order, and even more so, you've got to just tell people what to do. So when you ask for the order, I recommend that you box it out inside a dashed border. That tests really well. You put a little mini headline at the top that clearly says this is where you order. You have a section that speaks in their affirmative voice that says, like for instance on Mark Victor Hansen's page here, we say, yes, Mark, reserve my spot at your 2007 Megabook Marketing University, March 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Los Angeles, California. Yes, so that they say, yes, send it to me now. Exactly, that's exactly right. And then in bullet points, I have broken out the benefits of attending this particular event so that I'm reconnecting them to all the great stuff that they're going to get by attending. And then at the bottom of that, you would want to say, put in your credit card information below so we can rush you your system, your coaching program, your tickets to the seminar, whatever you're selling. And then element number 14 is the PS. The PS. And it's really important because this is the place to sum up the top benefit of your product for your readers. And it may be the only chance you get, because what happens to you a lot of times when you come to a sales page on the internet, I'm going to let you think about this and type for me a little bit. It's kind of a quiz, pop quiz time. What's the first thing you do after you glance at the headline, you think, oh, this is kind of interesting? Many times, what do you do first? You scroll down to the end, exactly, to check the price, exactly. So a lot of times people will scroll all the way down. Thank you, Jim, Ben, Marge, Teresa, because people scroll down to the end. This may be the first thing they see. So you want to restate what the main benefit is. It's almost like a second chance at a headline. And the one thing that's missing here that I'm going to change is that you would put a link in here that leads back to your order section. So those are the 14 elements of a sales letter. Okay, now, who's ready for 3 winning headline formulas that you can start using today? Because I'm about to give them to you. I don't know about you, but we've all probably heard the advice that you need to write like 100 headlines. And you think, well, how in the world do you do that? Well, you do it by having formulas. And I have a piece of software that I give to my students. And if you choose to come along with me with my copywriting course, you'll get this software that actually creates 100 headlines for you at the touch of a button. But here are 3 that you can use right now today. The font for this matters too. Yes, I would start with Tahoma 16-point red. That's what I would start with. So here's formula number 1. It's give me, and then there's a blank, and the fill-in is a small investment in time or effort, and I'll give you big results fast. So take a little time. Somebody who's a fast typist, I bet it would be helpful if you could type this into the window for everybody else. So maybe somebody will volunteer to do that. Give me small investment in time or effort, and I'll give you big results fast. And here's an example. Give me 3 minutes a day. Hey, thanks, Bob and Asher. Man, you guys are awesome. Give me 3 minutes a day and I'll give you a Harvard vocabulary. That's an actual direct marketing classic headline. And there's the formula that you can use and insert your stuff, your information about your product, and boom, you've got a great headline just like that. Yes, Ross, they are faster than you. Okay, headline formula number 2. Here we go. Typists on your keyboards. If you can, something easy, then you can, big results promised by your product. You need to know, good grief, Bob, you are fast. You need to know what the big result that you're promising is. What's the big promise of your product? Here's an example. If you can copy and paste, then you can write killer sales copy that sells like crazy. So I use this for a sales letter that I actually haven't released yet. It's for a product with a bunch of copywriting templates that I offer. So if you can copy and paste, then you can write killer sales copy that sells like crazy. But you can use this for any product. Let's say you were selling typing tutoring, for instance. So you could say, if you can watch YouTube videos, then you can learn to type as fast as Bob the teacher. See, that's just how you adapt that headline. Okay, headline formula number 3. I want to give you all 3 of these. On your mark, Bob. Proven system, active statement of main benefit, and does it in specific time frame or steps. Now, this one's a little more, requires a little bit more thought, but it's very powerful. Let me show you an example of how it works. Proven software, and then here's my active statement of the main benefit, generates killer headlines. That's what the software does, right? It's an active statement of the main benefit. And does it at the touch of a button. Or if I was going to talk about how long it takes, I could say, and does it in 60 seconds or less? See how that works? So with these three headlines, you can now, right now today, if you were an action-taking kind of person, which I know you are, because you're here, you could go to your website and put in 3 headlines using these formulas and test them. And you'd have 3 killer headlines to test. Okay, here we go. 9 rules of writing copy that sells. Now, I guess I could call these 9 suggestions, but in my experience, they work like a champ, and I have altered some of these. I used to give a different set of 9 rules, and 2 or 3 of them are a little different now, just as a result of testing and observation and paying attention. So these aren't the only 9 rules. That's what I'm getting at. There could be 27 rules, but I wanted to give you 9 that I felt are really important and will make you money. So copywriting rule number 1, use all 14 of the basic elements every time. Use all 14 of the basic elements every time. Copywriting rule number 2, think first of your reader. This is a huge mistake that a lot of people make. They will tell me, oh, I'm thinking of my reader. I'm thinking of what my product can do for them. I'm thinking of what my product offers them. I'm thinking of the features that my product has. But it's all my, I. And it needs to be all about your readers and what their viewpoint is and what their language is and how they talk about their problem and what they really feel is their pain. If you can really get inside their headspace, then you can make some more sales. You see, Robert Collier, one of the great copywriting geniuses of all time, said, you must join the conversation that's already taking place in the mind of the reader. Well, this is what copywriting rule number 2 is about. So you got to look in the mirror and ask yourself, if as Asher says, I totally agree with me. No, ask yourself, am I really putting myself in the place of my reader? Am I really in his world? Robert Collier letter book, absolutely right, Matt. My friend Brian Keith Voiles actually has an exercise he goes through. He actually mentally rehearses what the day of his average prospect is like. He imagines, what do they see when they wake up in the morning? How do they get ready for work? What are the sounds and smells in their house? What do they see as they're driving to work? And they really dig deep into, or he really digs deep into their life experience. So that's an exercise that's well worth doing. Yes, Cialdini's book is awesome, outstanding stuff. Okay, copywriting rule number 3, use short words. Use short words. Copywriting rule number 4, use short sentences. Look, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Wall Street Journal is actually written at a high school equivalent writing level. You'd think it would be written for MBAs, but it's written at the level of a first-year student in high school. And the reason is people don't like to read, as a general rule, stuff that's difficult to read. So you want to make it easy for them. Asher calls it the rule of dumb. And there are worse things than to use the rule of dumb. It's what you're really trying to do is communicate effectively and quickly. And it's more important today than ever. And if you think that this is like something that the internet has done to people, I'm going to give you a little secret. All of these rules, including these last 3 rules, including number 5, use short paragraphs, I actually borrowed these rules from a very famous author who completely changed the face of American fiction. Anybody know who he is? Somebody knows the answer to this, I know. Hemingway. Bob the teacher knew. Absolutely. Ernest Hemingway. These were his rules for writing. He also said that we should use vigorous English. So use the active voice rather than the passive voice. And yes, people do skim and scan and scroll when they read, so you want to use short words, short paragraphs, short sentences so you can communicate your ideas to them almost instantly. Copywriting rule number 6, the first sale you need to make is the readership sale. It's the why should I read this stuff? That's what we're doing in the headline, in the deck copy, and in the lead section particularly. We're selling them on reading. And what's really going to happen is they're going to skim down and scan through the letter. They're going to see the subheads, and they're going to look at the price, and they're going to decide whether they're going to go back and read the whole thing. So you got to think of that whole process, headline, deck, lead, subheads, as that's you're making the readership sale. So if I read all those pieces out loud, they should tell the basic story of what the sales letter is and what the offer is. Copywriting rule number 7. Repeat your core message with consistency. Now that doesn't mean just say the same thing over and over again. It's say the same thing in a different and interesting way a number of different times to drive home your main message. Copywriting rule number 8. Write about your readers' aspirations. What I mean is, yes, we want to bond with them and recognize what their problem is. Yes, we want to understand what their pain is and communicate that to them. We also, as we get down to the last third or so of the letter, we want to start talking about what they aspire to. They aspire to financial freedom. They aspire to firing their boss. They aspire to being slim and healthy. They aspire to having a loving, wonderful family relationship. These are the things that we want to talk about, is what their aspirations are. And it's going to differ depending on what your product and who your audience is, who you're writing for. And then copywriting rule number 9 is know thy market. Do the homework. Read the same magazines they read, watch the same TV shows they read the same books, listen to the same info products, go to the same physical places if you can. Understand them and their language and their world. That exercise that I told you about that Brian Keith Voiles does, where he imagines himself living through an entire day in a prospect's life, if you actually do that and you don't develop some real empathy for your market, you're not doing something right, because you will develop more empathy if you go through that exercise. I promise you. Okay, so here's what you've gotten so far today. We've gone through the ultimate selling formula, the 14 elements of a basic sales letter, 3 headline formulas that you can use, the 9 rules of writing copy that sells. You've gotten a lot of great content. Yes? Yes? And I also promised you that I would show you how you can use my system. And I want you to just think back and remember all the people that we talked about who are my clients, and many are my colleagues and joint venture partners now. And, just in 2005, none of these people knew my name because I was just getting out of the radio business. None of these people knew who I was. And in that time period, we've experienced some of the success that we talked about at the beginning of this call. And I say we because it's not just about me. It's about them and me together. It's about you and me together. And my belief for you is this: you're just one sales letter away from financial freedom. Just like Dr. Andrew, he's not a guru, he's not an internet marketing guru, and yet he's created financial freedom in his own life. And we actually became business partners as a result of that. Same reason that Armand Warren was willing to pay me $30,000 to write copy. He's a great copywriter in his own right. Or the same reason that Matt Basak does the same thing. So my question for everybody here today is, who wants to generate millions just like my clients? Who wants to do that? That leads us to how you can use my system. Because remember, I told you I'm not some genius. I just have a system that works. And freedom comes by taking immediate action. That's what we were talking about when we said when you see opportunity, that you need to go ahead and seize that opportunity immediately. So here are your action options. Here are your options with what to do right now. First of all, you could educate yourself just like I did. You could do the same thing that I did. Your second option is you could hire a professional copywriter and just have them do it for you. And a lot of my clients have chosen to do just that because of time or the fact that they just didn't want to do it. They wanted somebody else to do it. Or you could use the same system that I use. So option number 1, if you want to educate yourself just like I did, you've got to go through all the same material and so forth that I did. And I invested $101,387. But I invested that so you wouldn't have to. I've already done the hard work. Option number 2 is you could hire a pro copywriter like me. The first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to qualify as their client. Now, you can get mediocre copywriters all day long, but that's just going to be throwing away your money. If you're going to hire somebody who's good, they're going to be booked up. And that means you're going to have to get their attention. And sometimes that's easier to do than others. I'm only taking 4 clients for all of 2009. That's my plan for 2009. So you can imagine my calendar fills up pretty quickly. Many top copywriters are booked months, if not years in advance. And my fees, by the way, you saw the checks. My fees are $30,000 plus 10% of revenue. So that leaves us with option number 3. Use the same system that I use. And my system is simple. It's not, some copywriting courses you may have seen are just big volumes of really nothing but samples of copy. That's not the case with my system. My system is step by step. It's a complete blueprint. It's easy to use. It's fill in the blanks. You've seen it in action already today, as I'm sure you guessed. And today was just a fraction of what's inside the actual system. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So this is the system, Web Copywriting Explained, that you're going to be using. And this is the audio and video portion. And what's inside, there's several different components to what we have today so that you can start using the system. Component number 1 is the Web Copywriting Explained course. In Module 1, we go into the structure of sales letters. By the way, that's all we covered today. We actually didn't even cover all the material. We just covered the tip of the iceberg of Module 1, because Module 2 is all about headlines, deck, and subheads and how to write those and templates for writing them. Module number 3 is email marketing. Module 4 is bullet points explained with those 21 bullet point templates. Module 5 is the triad method of selling. Module 6 is audio and video copy explained. Module 7 is all about AdWords and PPC, or pay-per-click copy. Module 8 is about launches, promotions, and story selling. And you get the physical course today, like I'm going to ship you the box, and you're only seeing part of what's in the box on the screen, plus you get lifetime digital access as well. $1,997. But you're also getting component number 2. You're getting my ultimate copy templates system. You get lifetime access. And I've got templates for everything. These are fill-in-the-blank templates just like you've been using today to write those headlines and to write those bullet points that we went over. And to write that lead copy, I've got templates for you for everything. For emails, for sales letters, bullet points, guarantees, AdWords and PPC, product launch, and a whole lot more. Lifetime access to this is $2,997, $2,997. Plus you also get component number 3. You get a personal copy critique from me. It's where I turn on my screen capture software and I go through your sales letter section by section, line by line. I show you where the opportunities for improvement are, where the things are you need to correct, where the things are that'll boost your actual response results. You can't buy a critique from me these days, but if you could, it would be $2,497. The only way to do it is to become part of Web Copywriting Explained. So here's what you're getting. You're getting Web Copywriting Explained, the ultimate copy template system, copy critique from me, and you're also getting component number 4, which is the 6-figure copy blueprint. It turns your new copy skills into $100,000 a year income. Maybe you've been watching this thinking, hey, Ray gets paid $30,000 to write a letter. What if I can only do half as good and only got paid $15,000? Heck, what if you can only do a fraction as well and you can only get paid, say, $5,000 to write a sales letter? Well, 4 of those a month and you're making almost $250,000 a year. So I give you my step-by-step system for getting clients, for getting paid by those clients. It's my exact system. I don't hold anything back. And here's something to think about. From time to time, I am asked, hey, Ray, do you have junior copywriters that I could have write the copy? I know that, Ray, you're too busy to write it, or I can't afford the $30,000. But could one of your students write it, and then you take a look at it and polish it up for me, and then I'll pay you for that. And the only people that I hire to do that work are people who've been through my system. I tried hiring outside copywriters, and I found they didn't write exactly the way I wanted them to, so I made it a requirement that they had to go through my system first. I hire my students. Now, I can only say to you that, you got to go through the system, you got to learn to write the copy and prove that you've implemented my system and that you're writing good passable copy. But if you are, that's the only way you're going to get hired by me, and I have plenty more work coming at me than I could possibly do myself. $1,497 for the 6-figure copy blueprint. Plus, you also get component number 5, and that's my Q&A Club 52-week training with Ray. That's weekly Q&A calls. It's like having me as your personal consultant every single week. This is not sold separately, and it's live interaction. It's this is semi-live because we're not able to converse audibly, but on these Q&A calls, you can speak with me one-on-one. I open up the line, I unmute individually, everybody gets a chance to ask their questions. It's like 52 weeks of success insurance. $1,297 for that. So here's everything you're getting. You're getting Web Copy Explained, Ultimate Copy Templates, the Copy Critique, a 6-figure copy blueprint system, and the 52-week Q&A with Ray training. Plus, you're also getting component number 6, a membership in the Internet Marketing Mastermind. It's a brand new site that I just launched with a business partner of mine. It's all about all the facets of internet marketing, not just copywriting, but it's filled with video tutorials. Every month you get a new video how-to. We have live Q&A calls that are separate on this site. You get a cash contest each month. We're giving away cash money, and we get a free 2-day live seminar after the first of the year, where it's just me and my business partner, Kurt Christensen, teaching for those 2 days. All of our members in good standing get to come to that seminar for free. And the value for a lifetime membership in the Internet Marketing Mastermind, $3,497. You're also getting component number 7, which is priority access and discounts on copy. Now, this is not available to the public. You get priority if I ever open my schedule and say, I've got an opening, I'll write some copy for somebody. You get priority, you get a discounted rate, and you can apply 100% of today's purchase to the fee for the copywriting. The value on this, who knows what it could be worth, because my fees are $30,000 plus 10% of gross revenue. So I have no idea what it could be worth to you. I know it could be worth a lot. Component number 8, you also get 2 tickets to my Speed Money seminar. It's 3 days in Vancouver, British Columbia. We're bringing in top speakers from all over the world. We're having hot seats, twists, personal interaction with the speakers, unlike anything you've ever seen before. I mean, if you go to one live seminar this coming year, it needs to be this one, because you're going to get to sit down at a table with the speakers and talk to them about your business. April 24th through 26th, 2009, in Vancouver, British Columbia. If you can't make it to the seminar, if something comes up, or if you just don't want to travel, or whatever the case may be, then you can get either the DVDs or the audios of the seminar. We'll send those to you after it's over. A value of $1,194. So here's everything you're getting. You're getting everything we talked about, including the tickets to the seminar, for a total value of $16,473. So here's your opportunity. Total value, $16,473. Now, some of you already know, I'm not going to ask you to write a check for $16,000. And I could cut it in half. I could go through this whole exercise and say, well, what if it was half? Would that be a great value? Certainly be more valuable. Would it be even more valuable if it was $4,118? That's a lot less than my $30,000 copywriting fees, or a lot less than $100,000 worth of education that I've already invested in and distilled and put together for you. And it'd be a lot more valuable if it was just $2,059. But I like nice round numbers. So today's price is $19.97. And you can get that price by going to mastersseminar.com/Ray. mastersseminar.com/Ray. Remember that freedom comes by taking immediate action. When you see that opportunity, it comes by seizing the opportunity. And I'm going to do something that you're hardly going to hear anybody else ever say, because I know that we're all looking at this next year and saying, how can I profit in this economy? And I believe the opportunity is before you like never before. And so what I'm willing to do is something that you're not going to hear very many of the teachers or internet marketers or copywriters tell you. I will finance you. I'll be the bank. And you're already qualified for the financing. Here's all you have to do. You take immediate action. The pay in full price today is $19.97. Or you could just pay $700. Just $700 today, and then 2 easy payments. And the system is yours. So here's the opportunity. Here's your action step. $700 today will ship your box to you, and you'll get access to the digital version and all the bonuses we've talked about. I say to you, first of all, thank you for your time and attention. I wish you all the best of success in your business. God bless you, and take action and seize this opportunity. I look forward to working with you. Thank you so much. With that, Ross, I turn it back over to you. Oh, you guys are too kind. You're just awesome. You've made my day. Thanks, everybody. You're scrolling past too fast for me to even say everybody's name, but thank you so much. Um, Guys, I've got something that I've got to attend to here at the house, so I'd love to stay for Q&A, but I've got to get going. So thank you so much for your gracious applause and acknowledgments. Just go to mastersseminar.com/Ray. Ross put the link on the screen. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a fabulous holiday season. I hope we get to work together and that our paths cross again very, very soon. For those of you who are joining me, I'll be speaking with you soon.
Hey guys, that was pretty intense. Did everyone enjoy? I sure did. That was almost surreal. So the URL again is masterseminar.com/Ray. This is a big deal. So I definitely consider this if I were you. Ray is our only copywriter, so he did unbelievably well, and I'm thoroughly impressed and extremely thankful. Ralph, you give me a minute. I'm busy talking. I'll make the chat larger in a second. Oi, my 3-year-old just walked up. He doesn't want a nap. Alright guys, the URL again, someone please type it in for me, masterseminar.com/Ray, for those of you that wanted to check that out. We will be back here at 6 p.m. with my good friend Bob the teacher. So, there you go guys, chat is larger, and I'll be in the room just hanging out, typing around, so I'll talk to you guys soon.